Hey there, friends. Excuse me. Quick update on the Alabama mass shooting. I say that in quotes because I'm just using the media's term on this right now. You guys may already be aware, but I would say several hours ago, there was a mass shooting that took place at supposedly a Sweet 16 birthday party in Dadeville, Alabama. Now, a good 8 hours went by before any legitimate information came out. Once the information began to trickle out, there were allegations of various numbers. And just here recently, I've been waiting. I'm in the Dallas airport, by the way. So I don't have access to all the fancy screens and all that I would normally put up here. So hopefully, you guys get a lot of this information on your own, as I'm not back at home yet. Right now, from what I have found on different sources, 20 people have been shot. Just saw confirmation that it looks like 4 people are dead, 4 confirmed dead. There are some unofficial pictures out there, and I don't believe those pictures have been confirmed by any law enforcement or officials. I'll wait for this person to quit talking. It looks like, again, 4 dead, but the picture shows 6 people on the ground. I don't have the picture to show you right now because again, I don't have that fancy software and everything that I normally do for my studio. They are saying nothing about the suspect at this point, or suspects. People are assuming that this is some kind of retaliatory shooting because there are allegations that there was an argument of some sort, some kind of an altercation, and that's where the shots rang out. That's pretty indicative of a mass shooting, of a gang shooting. And when I use the term gang shooting, it doesn't always mean that these are confirmed gangs. They don't have to be organized gangs. I think that's kind of a blanket term that many of us use whenever it's people arguing with each other from various groups and cliques. Again, they may not have a full-blown patch that they put on the back of their jacket or a certain color that they wear, but they're groups of individuals that have disagreements with one another. Therefore, there's turf wars involved and things like that. So when I say gang shooting, I'm not necessarily saying it's the Crips and the Bloods all the time. It's parties of people that are probably selling drugs on each other's turf, doing some kind of criminal activity on each other's turf, and sometimes just being on each other's turf. It's just these cliques get together and they think they're tough guys, and they're really nothing more than a group of people who they feel like they're stronger alone because they don't have any real strength individually. So they join these gangs to feel important and to feel tough. So that's what I mean when I say gang activity. Again, I can't name you the gang because it's not necessarily a quote gang involved, but it's not a quote mass shooter either in many cases. So I'm assuming this one is more gang related as opposed to a quote mass shooter, simply because of the reports of there being an altercation. You typically don't have a quote mass shooter or a sociopath that's involved in an altercation and then the shooting breaks out. Typically, it's a pre-planned event that they already have, and they go to a certain location to kill as many people as they can, again, carrying out their plan that they already put together. So again, altercations are rarely ever a piece of a quote mass shooting. Altercations are more indicative of a gang related shooting because that's where you get that turf war and the argument, and then they pull their guns down, they shoot at each other. From what I see, there's 4 people that have been killed, and I don't know exactly how many are wounded. There are reports of up to 20. Again, I don't have the maps, I don't have the locations and all that to show you now because I'm in the Dallas airport right now trying to fly back to Louisiana. But nevertheless, there is the shooting out there that does appear to have happened. Some of the pictures that I've seen, and again, I can't share those because I don't have all my software set up for the streaming here in an airport. but one of the pictures I saw, there was a body with a Glock and an extended magazine sticking out of it. Again, all indicative of a gang-related type shooting. Local law enforcement, I want to say this is a town of 3,000 people, and they have 14 law enforcement people there. That's probably another reason why this information is slow to get out, because they just don't have the manpower over there from a forensic standpoint to process this crime scene in a decent fashion. So I think they've even contacted local ATF and FBI, which, I mean, what help is that actually going to be? But I think they've contacted them, the local authorities have, to come in there and assist them, along with the state authorities, with the state of Alabama, to come in there and help process the scene and all that. So a lot of that is probably why we've got such a slowdown of information coming out. However, I still feel like 8 hours before information is coming out is a long time. It would not surprise me with a community this small, if 3,000 people live in this community, local officials more than likely have children involved in this. And I say children, I mean young people, 16-year-olds and teenagers. So again, with a town of 3,000 people, if 20 people were shot, that's a pretty high number. So they may be slowing down the processing of information, because local authorities, it could be even the mayor, are likely involved in this somehow, somewhere, again, due to that percentage ratio of people in the community. What else did I hear? I'm just trying to pass on the information that's kind of either confirmed or feels like it's coming from a reliable source. They are not talking about any kind of a suspect. They're not saying if a suspect or suspects, plural, they're not talking about if that person shooting and killing these people, if they've been located. They're not saying if they're deceased themselves, or if they're running loose, which I think is a little bit irresponsible. You should at least tell the community, even if it is only a community of 3,000 people, that should make it that much easier to locate somebody and apprehend them if the shooter is still loose. So I feel like they owe the community a little bit of explanation about what's going on here, because if that person is still out there, the community would probably be really appreciative to know who it is, because with a community of 3,000 people, it's very likely that if you give somebody a name, they know who it is. You probably don't even have to give them a description. Everybody knows everybody in a town of 3,000, practically. So I'd like to see them do that very, very soon. But boy, you talk about a slow trickle of information. We've talked about that on a lot of our live streams before, when there have been, slow information coming out. This is the slowest I've ever seen. It was a good 8 hours that came out before anything that was reasonable was even added to this story. Now, another reason why the news media may not be picking this up, maybe the boots on the ground have already told them that it's gang related. Guys, we know that the mainstream media could care less about a gang related shooting or opposing groups, cliques that don't agree, turf wars and all that happens in Chicago every day, multiple times a day in some cases. So that also tells me that the media always has their reason why they cover these shootings up and the details of these shootings. And in this case, it's very possible that they just don't care. They care whenever it's an AR-15 and it's some crazy white Christian guy that shoots up something. But outside of that, if it's one of their protected class, they're really slow to get the information out. And if it's gang related, like this could be, they just don't care. They can say what they want. They honestly don't care. Now, they'll check the boxes of gun violence, because that furthers their cause and definitely helps them check boxes off that they can do to pile those numbers up, make them look better. But they're not going to tell you that it's a class of people that they take for granted and don't really care about. So they don't care about the actual dead bodies. They care about the numbers and the statistics that they can rack up in instances like this. So just all of the evidence we've seen so far and where everything is going, this has all the look of a gang-related shooting. And again, I feel like I have to repeat this again, because some people say, "Oh, we don't have any gangs over here." There's 3,000 people in this town. There's no gangs. What I mean by gangs, when I use the term gang shooting, I don't mean that it's officially the Crips and the Bloods. I mean that it's clique related. It's two opposing groups of people who are either doing criminal activity and selling drugs on each other's property or turf, and they don't like it, or they're just opposing groups that just don't like each other, and they happen to wind up at the same place at the same time, and of course stuff just pops off. So that's everything is pointing to that right now. And I'm seeing John Pollard in the group right now says Dadeville is a cesspool. If you guys are familiar with this area, Dadeville is about 40 miles northeast of Montgomery, Alabama. Montgomery, Alabama is a turd. Montgomery, Alabama is no stranger to different factions of people who don't get along and shoot at each other. So I know 40 miles is 40 miles, but it's a very good chance that just 40 miles away in a really small community like this, it's pretty much a carryover of what you're going to find in Montgomery, Alabama. So I think you'll probably see the same thing in Dadeville that you would in those other places like that. And again, Montgomery, you don't have to look very far to be able to find very similar crime statistics in Montgomery. So we're probably dealing with the same thing. And again, going back to the media, it's probably why they don't care. That's probably why they're not sending reporters out there. But the same reason they don't send reporters to Chicago whenever 6, 8, 10, 12 people are shot on a Saturday night. They don't do that. They don't care. It's not numbers that they can get any. They can't sell ads on TV with stuff like that. They purposely don't cover it. So my guess is we're probably dealing with the same thing. Again, my apologies for the crappy video earlier and audio. I was on an airplane when all this took place, and I just happened to have Wi-Fi, and I tried to do a live stream to get the word out. I just like to get the word out on these types of events like this before the media has a chance to shape the narrative and put out all the false narratives that they put out there, and or bury the story for that matter. Because sometimes the media does a really good job at first of putting information out there about a particular shooting or event like this because they really don't know what's happening. And then once they find that it's one of their protected classes of people that they don't want the word get out, they'll bury the story, and it's even harder to find information on it. So I try to put these stories out as quickly as I can so you guys can start looking and we can at least educate ourselves before these stories are poisoned and shaped in the media's eyes or buried. Again, just a quick recap. Dadeville, Alabama, I believe it's confirmed that at least 4 people have died so far. It was at a Sweet 16 birthday party. The reports are that a argument broke out and then shots followed right after that. And it's at a kind of a dance studio type thing. Sounds like a place you would rent out for a party or something. And this happened 8 hours ago, if you can believe that. And still so little information has come out on this. So pretty interesting to me. I'm actually going to try to scroll through. Here we go. I'm looking at you guys' comments. 4 dead, 20 injured. That's what I'm hearing as well. Thanks for that, Irish Rover in Florida. Press conference anytime now. I was not aware of that. Yeah, and I appreciate you guys watching, definitely. I wish I had better access to my laptop. I couldn't get it to hook up or tie to my phone to get a good internet signal, or else I would be able to show you the maps and all the things that I'm normally able to show on these type of events. I like to show all that information while we're talking about it and while the situation is kind of fluid like it is now, because it gives us a chance, again, to piece a lot of this together before the media has a chance to screw it all up and put their own spin on it. I just can't do that. I'm in an airport in Dallas, Texas right now. I'm waiting on my flight to head back to Louisiana right now. So I'm kind of in a bind as far as getting any real good information out there like I normally would at my studio at home, which I hope I'm at in about 2.5 hours if my flight is on time. But nevertheless, guys, I'm going to, I'm rolling through you guys are really good about it. It's the other thing. I learned so much from you all. You guys are good about posting updates and information, especially whenever I'm at home, of course. I'm able to chase down the things that you send. Right now, I can't do that because I just have my phone. Again, that's why the quality is not the greatest, and I'm using earbuds from a microphone. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I try not to be rude in places like this. I'm actually kind of far away from a lot of the people here because I'm trying to stay away from them so that I'm not bothering people here, just trying to be a little respectful. So I'm looking at a lot of seeing if you guys have found any more information on this than what I have either already talked about, or just that I haven't seen yet. Let's see, and I'm sorry, I'm looking through my bifocals here. 2 Loco 16 says, don't go away. Try to read it. Well, shoot, it just went away. Look what happened last night in Chicago. 200 plus kids on the street rioting. 6 got shot. I was not aware of that. But you're right. Not a word is said about that because it's not a class of people that they're interested in reporting on, because it's not going to sell T-shirts, bumper stickers, or they can't fundraise on the backs of. If gang members are shot, that kind of hurts their narrative, because then it falls back on them as to why I'm talking about Democrats and the anti-gun people are usually from that same subset of people. The responsibility then falls back on them to have to do something about it, and they don't want to ever take any blame for it. So that's why they bury these gang-related stories, because it's something that they own in many cases, and they don't want ownership of any of this, and certainly, no responsibility. I'm going to see something real quick. I'm not sure if I can do this. I'm going to swipe up on my phone, and I'm going to see if that kills my feed or not. Let's see. I'm going to swipe up right now. When I just swiped that up, I'm back on screen now. I can see myself. Did anything go away when I swiped up, guys? So did it go away at all, or did it stay on screen? Okay, good. So if it stayed on screen, it buffered. Oh, okay. So it killed it. Okay. Because I was going to swipe up and see if I couldn't multitask on my phone to find some. It froze for a second. See, I don't know if I can do that. Maybe I can't. Maybe the phone won't allow the processor to do that, to live stream and go look at something. Yeah, okay, so I'm not going to do that because I think I'll kill the feed. Um, I just was going to go look for some other information, see if I could find anything. So I'm just looking at y'all's comments right now. But yeah, that's all I know. And I've been following this story for several hours now. I was up this morning at about 4 a.m. Indianapolis time to grab my flight. So I've been plugged in all day, or all morning, I should say, to what's going on over there. And it's very odd at how slow the information has come out on this shooting. The news is now saying that there are 4 deceased at this Sweet 16 birthday party. Again, the shooting did break out after an altercation. Let's see, DM says, where am I at right now? I am in the Dallas airport. I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth airport right now, waiting on my flight back to Louisiana. So, yeah, man, this is one of those situations right now that I just don't know why the information is being suppressed. I don't know if it's political. I don't know. I know they have the information. I mean, this happened, it's probably going on 9 hours ago that this shooting took place. I know they know. Whether or not they're suppressing the info, I know there's children involved, and I say children, 16-year-olds, teenagers. That's possible since there are minors involved, while they're kind of suppressing some of this information simply because of parent involvement and them being minors, not wanting to get that info out there. And I can respect that, obviously. Surely in a town of 3,000 people, they have been able over the course of 9 hours to notify any injured or any deceased by now. I mean, surely. I mean, you could drive or probably walk the entire neighborhood or the entire town of 3,000 people in that amount of time. So my guess is it's probably not that. It's probably more along the lines of not wanting to release information until they can, get some kind of a release from local authorities. I know that from a forensic standpoint, when you're investigating a crime scene like that, you have to cordon it all off. And if this is a town of 3,000 people with only 14 police officers, uh, I'm sure they don't have a forensics department. They probably use the county forensics department and probably the state forensics department whenever they have an issue like that. And quite honestly, as bad as Montgomery is, there's a very good chance that the forensics department probably was working something similar in Montgomery. So the county of that area, if they share the same forensics department, was more than likely already working in the Montgomery area through the night or during the night when all this took place. So several things that probably play into why this is taking so long. But nevertheless, I think it's irresponsible for, let's say, the mayor or anyone local to have not come out and said, we have a shooter on the loose. I just saw it here. 4 confirmed dead, reports of at least 20 injured at a teenager's birthday party. So still the same information that I know. It was just something that popped up on my notification on my phone. So yeah, I mean, no more information than that, guys. It seems like this is a slow-moving story. It is a Sunday morning too. I do know that local news people, if you can call it that, I guess is in the vicinity of that area, were kind of ticked off earlier because I saw a report by them that, hey, this happened 8 hours ago. We still don't know anything. Why isn't somebody telling us something? So I know that we're not the only ones that's a little bit frustrated with the slow leak of the information coming out right now and the timeliness of it. Again, local people are getting kind of aggravated right now. So as I said earlier, too, there's a very good chance with 3,000 people in this community, only 3,000 people in the Dadeville community, if 20 people were shot, it's a very good chance that either from a shooter standpoint or victim standpoint, that these people were related to somebody in the local city hall or mayor. Again, there's so few people in this community. Many of them probably are related. So that may be another reason why there's a slowdown of information, because those people are not letting the information getting out because, or not allowing it to get out because they are tied directly to it and associated. And let's face it, if it is somebody like that and it is a loved one or something like that that was either killed or shot, probably the last thing on their mind is having a press conference to get this information out. They're probably dealing with their loved ones and all that. So I'm understanding of all that kind of stuff. And I know that kind of stuff takes place and happens in instances like this. So I'm going to run down here and see if I can't pull some more information up. If I'm able to find something, what I'll do, guys, I know a lot of you don't have Facebook or Instagram, but since I don't really have a way, I guess I could post a lot of my links that I find on my posts on YouTube. So if you could go check my posts on YouTube, anything that I find on this story, I will bring it out there and post it. I'll upload it onto YouTube since I won't be able to just continuously live stream. And again, my apologies for not having the tools that I normally would for a shooting like this to be able to show you the maps, the locations, the pictures that I see, the things that I'm reading from, all the data that I look at, because I like to be as transparent as I can. Since I don't have all that, I'm literally in the Dallas airport right now waiting for an airplane. So I'm doing all this from my phone right now, so I don't have access to all of that stuff. So I'm going to go dig and try to find some more links. Whatever I find, guys, if it's anything relevant, I will post and share with you all. Otherwise, I hope to be home in about 2.5 hours. See you guys then. Have a great Sunday morning. Be safe, guys, out there. A lot of weird stuff happening. Keep your head on a swivel. Stay armed if you can.